So just one quick thing, because this is there've been a few questions about this so far, is people are starting out, kind of like hip roughly near the knee when they start to spin. If that happens, right, keep in mind, so the first thing we're trying to start with, we're working backwards from like the torso, is we want like a immobilization of the hip, preferably with a pin. If I'm starting out with my legs by my partner and my hips by my partner's knee, what is the quality of my hip immobilization or my pin? It's going to be pretty poor. So what we're trying to do is get our hips really close to our partner's hips. I'm going to do the Bart Simpson say the line thing. Taint to taint is what we're looking for here, right? Like as close as possible, because that way the center of gravity that is inherent in your Badonkadonk is going to, there's a reference for you, is going to help you pin your partner's hips into the mat. It's going to make the quality of this wedge a lot higher. Right? Now, does that solve some of the questions that you were going to ask me? Okay, are there questions not related to ass to ass? There's a reference for it. Fun movie if you haven't seen it. Yes?
I feel like as soon as I get around the knee,
yeah.
my foot is trapped and I can no longer spin.
Can you show me?
Right here.
Yeah.
As soon as I get up here,
yeah.
she's trying really hard to come up. This foot is trapped.
Yeah, so if you watch when I do this, when I come up, I'm trying to go to my feet if I can. If I land on my knees and then they put their butt on my butt, it's not the end of the world, because we're going to solve some of these problems with toe holds as we go on. Right? Like I can't overstate how not a big deal some of the problems you're having are when you're actually trying to break someone's leg. Because the problems you have right now is because you're not trying to break their legs, so there's a bunch of things they can do. Like, how much of the time is this person sitting there on their hands? They're not going to be sitting there on their hands, right? Like, they're going to be trying to turn and reach and push and grab. Like, they are absolutely not going to be on their hands. That's a very artificial position. It's like when you drill back stuff like this. Like, when are you ever here when you're rolling unless you're practicing EBI overtime? Like, let's practice stuff from here. This doesn't exist. You're going to be on your back, you're going to be on your side. So, granted, this is a little bit artificial because at this point, I'm just trying to get myself to here so that I can start attacking this, which means their hands can be on the mat. They almost always will not be on the mat at this point, unless they're extraordinarily confident in their ability to, I would say, heel slip and toe slip, but that's more for heel hooks. But their late stage defense and the flexibility of their knee joint and hip joint, unless they're very confident with that, they're going to be using their arms to try to attach to you so that you can't apply braking mechanics. Does that kind of make sense? So if you're having problems knocking people down, it's really not as much of a thing. But ideally, I would prefer the mobility that comes from being on my feet here. And this is where the leg lock or bust thing comes in. If this person who's only ever trying to do this stuff and Ken starts to build up and slips his knee, oh crap, I'm in a lot of trouble. Whereas if I'm this person, I could go to your legs now, but I could also just do that, right? If you don't have the ability, and this is obviously not the point of the seminar today, but if you don't have the ability to connect leg locks to passing and back attacks, then you're frankly like a 1990s leg locker, right? And it's a shame that mullets are coming back, but we don't want all the stuff from the 90s to come back. No, sorry. I think you look majestic. So, so does that help?
It's just if she's really, really trying to build height, I find it hard to
okay, so let me see you do it again. Yeah, no, I want to solve your problem before we move on here.
Her goal is to come up, right?
Well, or free her knee. Yeah. Yeah. There you go. Yeah, this is fine. So push to the back corner, straight back. There you go. That's it. Now get up on your feet. Get up on your feet. Notice what you just did with your right leg.
Yeah.
So that's the thing we want to avoid. Let me show something that will relate to this. Just going back. Mount. Okay. This is a very common problem when people get to a mounted triangle, and they're like, yeah. And they do this thing. And then there's this gigantic gap here. How do I finish mounted triangles? A lot of people struggle to finish mounted triangles for this reason. So it's the same sort of thing that's happening here as you end up, you get to here and you're like, you know what I need to do? I need to do that. And then you just go out of base and you create like a massive space between your knee pit and your hip. And what we're looking to do is when we're here, is come up on this leg rather than throw this leg around, because we're gonna need base on this side. We're gonna need to activate our toes a little bit. So when I build up, I don't want to make this movement happen. I want to kind of hinge back on my feet. So this is a very common habit for people in jiu-jitsu, like to do this, like to go into a pigeon pose. And it's not always wrong. There are going to be times like when you're doing an arm drag to an inside trip, you need to do that. There are going to be situations where you need to do that. But for example, if I'm doing, sorry for the divergence here, guys. When I'm doing a mounted triangle and I get over his shoulder, I don't want this. I want that. Right? If I make that sudden throwing leg, I'm going to end up in the same place, but I don't want to do it with a wide arc where I'm not maintaining base and I'm not maintaining pressure on my partner the whole time. So when you swing that leg, right, it's literally the same problem. You're not maintaining the pressure on your partner, because as you swing your leg, you're becoming a bit light, and she's able to create more pressure. So I want you to do it again, because you were right there, and then the leg swung around, and that took a little bit of the pressure away. So yeah, keep doing what you're doing. Back that ass up. There you go. Now start raising your left foot a little bit. That's it. And swing your butt back, 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 back. There you notice you just still did the thing with your right leg, where you went into the pit. Yeah, just there you go. Yeah, live. There. Yeah. So it's this thing that's getting in your way. It's your outside leg taking you out of base just momentarily, and then the pressure that she's creating is knocking you back down. Does that?
I feel like it's hard for me to, as soon as I get to here, like all of my weight is on this knee, so I can't move it around.
You have to just move it slowly. So do it again, because you just did it, right? Like it doesn't have to be done in one movement. It's grappling. It's not striking. It doesn't have to be like lightning quick, right? So you pop up. There you go, and now you start backing your butt up. Yeah. There you go. Yeah. There you go. Yeah. There you go. There you go. There you go. There you go. You just did it. If it takes you 8 steps, it takes you 8 steps. Awesome. Okay. Other questions?
Do you like to use that shadow hook to make a transition before you step over?
When you say shadow hook, can you show me what you're describing? Sorry, everyone's got different terminology
like
sometimes.
Right here, getting it.
The butterfly hook. Yeah. I mean, I use that a lot. Specific to what we're working on today, that's creating distance. So not for this movement, because we're trying to get our hips as close to their hips, and that is a mechanism for keeping hip distance. It's a mechanism for creating a bend in the knee or creating internal or external rotation of the hip. So when you're attacking like a shotgun ankle lock or an Aoki lock, that is a primary mechanism. When you're spinning the leg, it's not really what we're looking for, because it creates too much distance from the hips. Other questions? Okay, now let's start to get to the fun part. We are, here. We're trying to do this. If our partner's hands are on the mat, right? Can you cross your ankle over like the other way? Sorry. I don't. So just. For defense, it's not good defense, but it's like, this isn't good defense for a rear naked choke. If I choke you over your chin, I'm sorry. You chose poorly. You get lots of movie references. If you train at a gym where that's frowned upon, you've got a giant blind spot. So this is like the absolute minimum that you'll see as like leg lock defense. It's not good defense, but it is defense in that he knows that I'm attacking his right leg, so he just crosses his right ankle over top of his left leg. I'm attacking his left leg, he crosses his right ankle over his left leg, which theoretically should deny me access to the end of the lever, but practically it doesn't really do that because I still have 2 hands and I'm wedging. It's like I can literally just be like, that's nice. Right? So it's not good defense, but it is defense. So I want you guys to start doing it, because as we start to come up, now we're going to be looking to attack a submission of some kind. if my partner's hands are on the mat, it means that I'm basically unrestricted in how my hip, back, and arms can move. If my partner body locks me, there's at least a restriction, right? Like, this is actually, keep pulling me back. That's actually better than having your hands on the mat because he's controlling a bit of a lever of my spine. Not great control, it's still very close to my core, so it's not like he's up here. So like, you know, if I start out here and he tries to pull me back, it's probably too late and I'll still be able to go to work. But if you got here early and you got a little bit higher on my spine, now, oh crap, this actually can kind of suck. So you decide as the leg lock receiver. I know uke is the, tori is the word, but no, uke, I'm the tori. I don't speak Japanese, sorry. Leg lock receiver, that works better. All right, so you can decide if you want to keep your hands on the mat or if you want to try to interfere with me. I'm not going to tell you how, obviously I've given one example, but you can try to interfere using your arms, all right? The prerequisite is that I got my hips on top. I can be on my knees, I can be on my feet, both are good. He's either trying to keep his hands on the mat, which is fine, or he's trying to interfere with his hands. And his ankles are crossed. So we know which way the ankles are being crossed? Everybody knows? Okay. My job now is to separate my partner's feet. That's it. I'm not going to tell you what or how to do it. My job is to separate the feet so that I independently control each limb. I'll give like a very rudimentary version of it. My goal is to end up here where he can't reconnect his feet despite the interference of my partner's hands. All right, do your best, and then I'll help you afterwards. We're not going to clap. Let's go.